Hi, this is Ralph, and I'd like to talk about education in America. Most people in our society, and perhaps the world itself, probably realize or notice that we have many threats and problems to deal with that face our very existence or our lives. There is, of course, war, dangerous viruses, mental health, pollution, natural disasters, guns, earthquakes, hurricanes, and so on. However, it's really finding the most effective way to deal with these dilemmas that could be the most serious problem of them all. Let's face it. As the study of psychology might indicate, understanding and realizing how to best deal with these problems for many individuals actually may be our greatest problem. This is probably true because, as any study of psychology indicates, most individuals tend to seek solutions which are more favorable to their personal interest than in resorting to an unbiased or factual answer to the problems they, as well as we all, face. Thus, it's often that personal interests tend to obscure the actual and most effective solutions to our mutual problems. Well, the answer to this overall problem is to find ways to get people to realize that simply unquestioned concentration on immediate concerns can often lead to disaster in the long run. Well, our best hope here is to find an educational system that puts an emphasis on logic and social interests rather than mainly financial advantage. To attain this end, we should require free public schools to balance reading, writing, and arithmetic in curriculums from first grade to graduate levels with courses in logic, critic, civics, social understandings, and responsibilities as well. Most job training should come in private schools. If this were achieved, more Americans could then be inclined to raise their interest to vote when it comes time to promote our natural interest in freedom, rather than just sit back in indifference, basking in sports, football, movies, and TV, and so on in oblivious comfort. Why then is it that our educational system is apparently failing to produce students more equipped in dealing with facts and civic responsibilities essential to our mutual well-being and democracy? Well, as a former teacher, I am quite aware of many inadequacies that have perennially affected our system. Although the overriding factor here may best have been noticed by a former iconic news broadcaster named Walter Cronkite. Walter Cronkite once stated that what we need now is a compromise between socialism and capitalism. In other words, it may have been our overindulgence in the pursuit of money that weakened our dedication to provide an adequate educational system best suited to our future needs. Well, having taught school in California and Los Angeles for over 30 years, I had ample experience at identifying and dealing with flaws in our system. Aside from the flaws in the curriculum previously mentioned, we also have serious problems here in River City, in hiring qualified teachers, in class sizes, in housing and financing, and so forth. As a board member of AFT, the American Federation of Teachers, I had the privilege of addressing an assembly of first-year elementary school teachers. As I viewed the crowd of roughly 200 newly employed individuals seating in front of me, I astonishingly noticed that at least 90% were women. I also was aware that of the over 40 teachers at my own elementary school, only 4 or 5 were men. And upon further inspection, I realized that over half of the women teachers working at my school, through their salaries, were providing simply additional finances for their well-to-do husbands. Well, at the time it was actually published in the news that on the whole, teachers recently hired had generally much lower academic records than most individuals newly entering other professions. The old adage then seemed to be that if you can't be an engineer, lawyer, dentist, computer scientist, doctor, swallow your ambition and try teaching, it would probably be a safe bet that even today's situations remain the same. Let's face it, we're not ready to encourage yet our best and brightest academically qualified to enter the field of education. When I began my first year of teaching in Los Angeles elementary school classroom, I was placed in a class containing 40 third-grade students, and upon further inspection, I discovered that about half the students came from broken homes, having either one father or one mother. The beat went on when I realized that a number of the students in the room had recently been discharged from the Catholic school down the block for disciplinary reasons. Well, it's possible that I find myself in this situation because I was one of only 3 other men teachers employed at the school. The school at the time was, of course, overcrowded, with 2 separated classes being placed in the auditorium for lack of available classrooms at the site. Incidentally, on one occasion, my uncle, upon driving by the school with me, contained about 100 little box-like buildings on the playground, and he was prompted to remark, "Well, if that's what they're building with my money, I'm not paying school taxes here anymore." And yes, the little boxes were not equipped with air conditioning, while the temperature would reach 100 degrees in the summertime. Needless to say, in spite of my personal perseverance, most teachers working there suffered rather short residual rates. Thus, having the incentive to improve conditions, I became a board member of the AFT, the American Federation of Teachers, and was the rep at my school, and in so I helped initiate a teachers' strike. The strike lasted for a month until the school board gave in, and teachers made important gains in lowering class sizes, salaries, health benefits, and working conditions, and so on. Unfortunately, though, after a month, a court decision nullified the contract. Nevertheless, soon after, the union effort managed to gain a public vote to displace the conservative school board, and conditions did improve some. Well, this was, of course, many years past. Today, things may not seem quite that dire, yet if we're to survive, much more still needs to improve in the area of education. Finances remain to be the basic sticking point. When will the public acknowledge that Americans spend more money on alcohol, tobacco, and illegal drugs than we do on public education? Our defense spending exceeds what we support for education. United Nations statistics credit many other industrialized countries with having better educational systems and results than the United States. Most other countries have financing of education basically left to the central governments. Now, our major failure is that we leave the bulk of financing to the states. Thus, competition among the states makes it harder or impossible to raise taxes to support education, because if taxes are raised, the tax bases will often move to another state with lower tax rates. Thus, ironically, the states actually end up losing money for education when they've worked for taxes. When will we ever learn? RalphSchroyer.com or Ralph Schroyer on YouTube. You can find me. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.